I want you to get together.
So I was recently scrolling through YouTube Shorts, trying to show my toddler some funny videos of dogs, when this video of an up-and-coming singer, Iniko, invaded my feed for the 100th time. For the last month or so, it seems this person has been making serious waves in the music scene, and from reading the comment sections to the videos, they definitely have a strong following of devotees and, dare I say, worshippers. The TikTok marketing definitely worked with this one, because her first tour was sold out when I last checked. From an initial hearing, I was impressed with the talents they had, and their voice is certainly unique. The messaging of their works, however, not so unique. I could find perhaps one comment for every 100 that was pointing out the blatantly obvious, and that is the New Age Luciferian messaging behind their lyrics. Now I know how that sounds right off the bat, I do. But you did click on a video on a channel called Understanding Conspiracy, so you really shouldn't be surprised about anything I'm about to say. And I do say this all with love. Please, before you jump to defend this artist, who you may consider to be an idol or inspiration of yours, unless you are related to Iniko personally, you need to take a step back and understand that you do not know Iniko, or where their intentions or allegiances truly lie. You have no connection to this person, other than the fact that you like the sounds that come out of their mouth. I say this sincerely and with the utmost respect for you as an individual. Do not take what I'm about to say as condescending or a personal attack. Iniko is not your friend, and you must be mindful of who you choose to give your faith and attention. We live in a very controlled world, and every generation is given idols to worship who are only chosen because they help promote the right agenda. I want to talk about what that agenda is in this video, so you are armed with the right information to not be so easily swept up the next time another Iniko turns up. I created a video about 5 years ago called It's Lucifer Who Is Singing to You. The basic premise of that video is that the music created to be consumed on a mass scale within the popular mainstream industry, the kind of music that gets into the charts and is played incessantly over the radio for weeks at a time, is written in a way that forwards the agenda of Luciferians within secret societies all over the world. The most common way they do this is by having the artists they groom to sing things that Lucifer himself would say, in order to make the New Age philosophies sound like a beautiful and innocent thing to live by through the magic of manipulative vibration and frequency created from music. Now I know the whole Illuminati music industry trope is a bit played out by now, but unfortunately, it hasn't stopped just because it's been turned into a joke. If anything, they are getting bolder and more to the point with their mind control manipulation through the music industry, as new generations get further away from the means to discover this type of knowledge. Now, thanks to the numerous social media apps, it's not just the radio chart toppers that are curated by the satanically inclined. Case in point, Iniko. Let's begin with the name. The name Iniko is a boy's name of Nigerian origin. This West African name has an upbeat, energetic sound, yet it is traditionally used for a son who was born during troubled times. The first thing to point out is that Iniko was born female, yet presents as genderless. The choice to be named something that would be traditionally given to a male is an obvious attempt to emphasize this point. I'm sure many in the public wouldn't go much further than that shallow analysis. Lucifer, and many of the fallen angels are said to be male, yet they have the ability to transform into any state they wish. This includes the opposite sex. The androgynous nature of Lucifer is a common motif throughout occult circles, so having an artist present as so while playing the role of Lucifer isn't surprising. It's known that the Antichrist will appear during a time when humanity is at the brink of total collapse. This figure will appear as a saviour, offering many solutions to the major issues plaguing humanity that many will accept willingly and with very little thought, along with a mark of some kind to show their allegiance to this new world leader. Of course, the solution will be the total destruction of the old ways, for a new world order to be built upon, with Lucifer at the head. Musicians like Iniko, who sing as though they are the ascended and enlightened one, are designed to get the subconscious mind of the listener ready for the arrival of this false saviour, and the promises it will make to mankind to be as gods. Artists like this prepare the minds for the New World Order. This is a common mind control practice known as predictive programming. The next thing to examine when breaking down any public figure pushed on you through social media as an idol is the aesthetics and symbols they physically present on their bodies and in their artworks. This can be through tattoos, clothing, jewellery, hairstyles, and cover arts. Starting with tattoos, Iniko had the planets on her arms. These planets are an obvious astrological reference. The belief that following the movement of the planets can give you insight into your future, as well as provide specific timings to perform specific rituals as the planets align in specific ways, is fairly basic stuff. Yet, many probably don't know that the planets and stars also represent angels. Specifically, the planets that are known to be wandering stars that left their allotted positions in rebellion. A subtle reference, sure, and having tattoos of planets alone isn't enough to make the Luciferian accusation stick. So let's move to the choice of tattoo on Iniko's chest: the sun and the moon. Basic interpretations here would be a representation of duality and the worship of astral bodies through astrology, a common New Age focus whose roots are in the Taoist philosophies of Asia. Also, sun worship is certainly nothing new in occult circles, so not very deep on its own. However, scratching deeper under the surface, we can also learn that the sun and the moon are a very strong Freemason symbol for the two pillars outside the Temple of Solomon, Yakin and Boaz. According to the Bible, Boaz and Yakin are two copper, brass or bronze pillars which stood at the porch of Solomon's temple, the first temple in Jerusalem. They are used as symbols in Freemasonry and sometimes in religious architecture. Within Freemason iconography, the sun and the moon are always represented above each pillar, with the all-seeing eye between them. An idolization of Solomon and his temple is a basic Freemason tenet, as these two pillars are believed to be engraved with sacred knowledge passed down from an antediluvian period. The knowledge to be as gods over men and the earth. This could be our first clue that she is aligned with the Luciferian agenda, as it is well known that Freemasonry is Luciferian to its core. All truly influential secret societies like this are the foot soldiers of spiritual forces which are aligned to the rebellion of the fallen angels. Albert Pike, a master mason of the Scottish Rite, said it himself. It may also be worthy of note that in tarot cards for the High Priestess, she is often situated between the two pillars of the sun and the moon. Perhaps Iniko sees herself as this High Priestess of the Luciferian cult. You must remember that the New World Order that these secret societies are trying to impose on all of humanity is not sold to the profane as Luciferian. To the uninitiated, it's sold as a New Age spirituality of enlightenment and ascension, away from the outdated and oppressive doctrine of a cruel single creator God, towards a freeing belief that we are all God collectively. Though this doctrine is identical to Luciferianism, they will never publicly call it that. The New Age angle is how Iniko presents it through her own artwork. It's well known that the first lie from the serpent in the Garden of Eden is that you shall be as gods, and we find this message sung repeatedly by Iniko herself. She often professes herself to be an angel or god of sorts, perfectly aligned to the simplified New Age belief system created by more nefarious Luciferians. So now that the body modifications have been observed, next we should observe how Iniko's persona is presented through clothing, makeup, and jewellery. We find the usual bright-coloured, genderless and dehumanising outfits coupled with unnatural hair colours and extravagant otherworldly makeup with a heavy use of gold, often ordained in bright stones and jewels while aiming for an almost shimmering ethereal effect. I couldn't really imagine a more on-the-nose attempt to look like the androgynous seraphim angel, Lucifer. The seraphim, you see, was said to be reptilian in looks. Some are described in apocryphal texts as having the face of a viper, and snakes have pretty psychedelic skin. The bright colours and shimmering clothing could easily be a direct representation of this alone, yet Lucifer was described as being particularly exuberant and glamorous with the self-presentation. If we note Ezekiel 28 and read the verses 12 through 17, we get a clear view of this. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom, and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you. Your settings and mountings were made of gold. On the day you were created, they were prepared. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I anointed you. You were on the holy mount of God. You walked among the fiery stones. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created, till wickedness was found in you. Through your widespread trade, you were filled with violence, and you sinned. So I drove you in disgrace from the mount of God, and I expelled you, guardian cherub, from among the fiery stones. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendour. So I threw you to the earth, and I made a spectacle of you before kings. Pride, riches, and a desire to be adored by all of mankind as God. This is all they ever sing about when they're aligned to the Luciferian agenda within the music industry. So let's begin looking at one of her first major hits that made Iniko known to the scene. We can start with The King's Affirmation. First, the artwork for this song shows a crown. I mean, that's simple enough, right? She's singing about a king, so let's use a crown as the cover. There's nothing else to that, surely. Except the obvious reference to Freemasonry made by the hidden square and compass created by the crown's prongs. This obvious reference to Freemasonry is just a wink and a nod to those in the know of who truly owns Iniko and her persona. The profane masses wouldn't really notice such things. Note how the back prong creates a perfect right angle, and the front prong creates a more acute triangle. This is a purposeful design choice, not a coincidence or accident. We find a similar allusion to Iniko being a puppet by seeing her literally presented as being controlled like a puppet on the cover art of her single, Pinocchio. Sure, Pinocchio is a puppet, and for the profane masses, that's all the puppeteer represents on this cover art. But those initiates in these secret societies who see this now know she is one of theirs. This is how they communicate messages, such as who is owned, and who is not, while maintaining their plausible deniability. These examples of a crown and puppet strings show the difference between an esoteric and an exoteric meaning of a symbol. You must understand this to not be fooled. One other example of this would be on another remix album cover, showing Iniko with pale skin, white tight clothing mimicking skin, and rich red hair. This is the exact description of the offspring of fallen angels who mated with human women. Check out my series called The Nephilim Looked Like Clowns for more information on that. These Nephilim offspring became the demon spirits talked about today, who possess and torment humanity. The fact that Iniko would dress to look this way only bolsters the concept that she works with demons for her fame. Now that a cursory glance at Iniko's aesthetics is done, and we see that they all point towards her allegiance to the Luciferian agenda, let's examine the lyrics to Iniko's songs to further prove that it really is Lucifer singing to you through these people. Now, we don't need to break down all of Iniko's songs before it becomes clear what the influence behind them is, but I will break down a couple of the most popular to date. The King's Affirmation music video shows Iniko led in a dark, dry cave, then come to life when possessed by light. Lucifer is the Lightbringer. It appears that this is supposed to be an angel of sorts who has just woken up after being asleep for a long time in a dark prison. This is likely a reference to the Watcher-class angels who were imprisoned for having sex with human women and rebelling against God with Lucifer. In the end times, it's said they will be released and Lucifer will rule for a little season. This entity focuses the light and throws it down. We then see the same light fall from heaven. Lucifer the Lightbringer was said to fall from heaven like lightning. This light is then spread from woman to woman by force, as the possessed throw the light straight into the brain of another. Once all possessed by the light, they dance around a portal pool of fire. Prometheus, a Greek analogue of Lucifer, was also a light bringer of sorts, who is said to have stolen the fire from the gods and gave it to humans. This is a similar metaphor to the Luciferian perspective, that he freed mankind from the Garden of Eden by helping us gain the knowledge of good and evil. The fire likely represents knowledge, though Islamic jinn, who are demons, are described as being made of smokeless fire. So it could be a sign for demon worship too. Either way, the women are performing a summoning ritual. As the dance is performed around the portal, flashes of an angelic and precious stone ordained figure comes repeatedly into view. Once the ritual is over, this person arrives and is lifted up like a god, then placed on a golden throne. In Ezekiel, we mentioned earlier, Lucifer is described as being ordained with precious stones and gold, having a golden throne on a mountain. It's all there in this music video. It is clear who is being referenced here with the little knowledge of the Bible. Iniko, or the angel, offers themselves up to Lucifer sat on the throne as a soldier willing to fight, hence the sword in hand. In return, Iniko asks for fame. The lyrics back up this narrative of selling your soul for fame in a blatant way. As we can read, "I will be one of the greatest. This is a vow, this is a promise. Always wanted to be famous. I'm just being real, just being honest." So that there is Iniko telling you her intentions and what she wishes to receive from Lucifer. Fame. But that could also be reinterpreted as Lucifer singing himself, saying, I will be one of the greatest. Lucifer's agenda is to be like the Most High and to be worshipped as God over the one true God. That is said here in the next verse. Creators built different, they ancient. Sooner or later, all will be ours. A lot of things I am above, and there are a lot of things that are above me. So, again, Lucifer wants to be above the Most High, wants to be like God. That's his agenda, and that's what this is a reference to. Then it goes on to say, ain't no problem when I'm the equation. Presence noted, observation. I'm not new here. Reborn creation. Come and find me. Sending location. So this is an invitation for other people to come and find Lucifer and worship him. Plain and simple. Then it goes on to say, enlightened, they call me a siren. Through them I receive my guidance. Don't keep it all in, don't fight it. Fire to a flame, ignite it. Rules make me more defiant. I will never be compliant. I got it down to a science. It's so much more than a mindset. So this is two-part. This is Iniko speaking and Lucifer speaking. Enlightened, they call me a siren. Through them I receive my guidance. Is Iniko saying that I get my inspiration from demons. Now, a siren, for those who don't know, is said to be a Greek concept. So it's a half-woman, half-bird hybrid, or a half-woman, half-snake, or a half-woman, half-fish hybrid. The sirens were said to use their song to lure men into their trap. What they did to them then is up for debate, but it ranges between eating them or letting the men starve who can't leave because they can't stop listening to the sounds they make. Sirens are said to actually be the women who mated with the angels in the initial rebellion. Interestingly enough, these women were transformed or turned into sirens as a reward by the angels for serving them. For Iniko here to be saying she is being inspired by them, or even being called one of them, may be a tongue-in-cheek reference to the fact that she is working with fallen angels. The second half of this says, rules make me more defiant, I will never be compliant. Well, Lucifer is the king of rebellion. The lyrics go on to say, time to break down the matrix. They know the mind can play tricks. The message is clear. It's blatant. It's blatant. I will be one of the greatest. Always wanted to be famous. Just being real. Just being honest. So, time to break down the matrix is basically to break down the prison that the demons are currently trapped in. That's what that really means. It's not about breaking down societal norms, as they make it out to be. That may be the exoteric meaning they want normal people to take from it, but the esoteric understanding is that it's time to pierce the spiritual veil and make the entities on the other side known to all of mankind once again. Now, moving on to the latest release called Jericho, we can read much of the same Luciferian messaging as the King's Affirmation, once again singing as though she is Lucifer, with words like, I'm high, I'm from out of space, got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins. I'm gone, I've been far away, but I'm a Lumineer now. I make moves, start waves. I've been dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the Greys. They want to co-sign. Breaking that down quickly, Lucifer has been gone for a short time, but now he is back, and this is his season to rule again. Saying he is a Lumineer is just a reference to being the light bringer. To say that they make moves and start waves is twofold. Metaphorically, it means sound waves to be the god of sound and music, to be the one in control of the music industry, is what they mean by waves. But also, it was the rebellion of the angels, mixing their seed with human women and creating giant offspring, that caused the flood. So he was literally the cause of the biggest waves. Then we have a reference to the grey aliens. Now, I'm not here to say what they are one way or the other, but I can assure you they have something to do with the demonic realm. Artificially intelligent, new AI, I'm your future, past and present, I'm the fine line. Now, this is quite a topical point. AI is a major worry for many people, and those in the conspiracy culture do often associate AI with just a means of allowing demons to communicate with our realm, kind of like a modern day Ouija board. Perhaps this is what this is a reference to as well. Saying I'm your future, past and present is a reference to the fact that Lucifer and these angels have been here long before us. They have been here during our entire existence, and they intend to be here in our future too. She goes on to say, I can go higher past the stratosphere, I can catch fire, I can go hard, I don't even need to try. Star blood, I don't ever get tired. Predestined and written in stone, I feel it coming, feel it in my bones. Heavily protected and never alone. Tapped in, I'm connected to the unknown. So this again vibrates between Iniko speaking and Lucifer speaking. The predestined, written in stone aspect is that this is already predestined to happen and written in the biblical perspective, and we're just watching a script unfold. The whole I can go higher section, and that they don't get tired and have star blood, is Iniko thinking that she is a star child of some kind and heavily connected to the spiritual realm. But it's also a reference to Lucifer saying, I'm from heaven. The stars, let's say. Then there's this chorus that gets repeated over and over again. When I move, it's an earthquake rumble. I will never fall, never stumble. I don't need to be humble. I will break down walls like Jericho, crumble. So again, that's Lucifer singing to you. Lucifer is full of pride, doesn't need to be humble. Lucifer says, I will never fall, never stumble, when the irony is he was cast down from heaven. He fell from heaven. He has already fallen. When I move, it's an earthquake rumble. It could be a reference to the angels who are imprisoned under the ground, and when they get released, they will cause earthquakes, perhaps. But that's neither here nor there. You can see from these lyrics, this is Luciferian to the core. Jericho is a reference to the first city to be taken by Israel during their conquest of Canaan. God commanded the city to be attacked by 7 priests blowing trumpets, so using sound and frequency, with the Ark of the Covenant in front of them, and all the people behind the Ark of the Covenant. They encircled the wall of Jericho once a day for the first 6 days, then 7 times on the 7th day, after which the walls fell and the city was taken. Maybe this is a reference in the song to Lucifer breaking down the walls of our perception as he opens everyone up to demonic possession and the New Age philosophies. Yet I find the most telling points in the other lyrics, most of which can be taken as a brag from Iniko for being famous and influential thanks to her allegiance to Lucifer and New Age ideas. Or it could be interpreted as a literal description of how Lucifer sees himself. Either way, it's an a cappella version of this song which is currently taking the world by storm and is being covered, duetted and shared at an astounding rate. And it is this song that has no doubt brought thousands to be awestruck by Iniko's music. In her other song, Caught Me a Body, it's written as though she is a demon who is living in and controlling someone else's body. For example, just caught me a body and somebody got hit. Somebody knock, but nobody ain't there. Had an earthly body, and my earthly body ain't here. It's with you I needed you. I needed everything you had. I'd give you everything I'd ever wanted. Wouldn't it want it back? Omnipresent, luminous is your energy. I'ma move, I'ma do just how you do, I'ma show you who I am and where I go. I got the wheel, so really, I'm in control. I can go on forever with this, and I don't really want to turn this video into a documentary. The truth is, I care very little for Iniko, her music and her messaging, and I certainly don't think about Iniko often or lose sleep over it. I've been doing this for over a decade now, and all I see here is more of the same from the music industry, just packaged to a new age generation, with a lot less nuance to the hidden agenda they are promoting than I'm used to. It's actually very tiring to talk about, and not at all interesting anymore, especially to those who are already in the know. My hope is that a new generation can be clued into knowing that music is used as a weapon against them, as it has been for every generation before them. Iniko, as a subject matter, is just the means to reach that younger generation with the truth. My advice to anyone who considers all of this information as brand new to themselves is to please take the time to learn about occult symbolism in the music industry and the New Age agenda towards a new world order. It's not difficult to discover. It's old information, and without it, you will just be manipulated by the media for the rest of your life, never truly having a real thought of your own. Musicians are not gods. Don't idolize famous people. You don't really know them. They are not your friend. God is real, and Jesus is the only true king over mankind. It's never too late to realize this and come to the truth. Thanks for listening, and as always, God bless.
I want you to get together